Here's my idea that came to me after seeing President Trump talking on one of his interviews about the shortage of N95 masks and the difficulty to obtain more. So what I came up with was a way to sanitize lightly used masks. I wouldn't think this would be something you'd want to use something with excessive bloodborne pathogens, mucus and blood and things. Those ones should be really disposed of anyway. But typically an N95 mask in the medical field is designed as a one-time use and throwaway, as many of you may know. And so if you use one and it's not obviously dirty, here's one way to possibly clean it and make it reusable. This idea came to me, and I made this up, and the idea was to release it into the open market. I'm not here to gain money at all on this, so it's just a matter of trying to help out as many people as I can. Being a former EMT myself, I know it's difficult enough already to do things with the limited supplies that you have, especially nowadays with COVID-19. So anyways, my son-in-law, after I showed him what I had come up with and started working on the design, I was talking to him about it, and he went home and did some more research on it and found out there was already a company that has been for a while now, a few years now, working on a similar sanitizing machine. I'm not sure what the details of it are, but it's basically doing the same thing. I'm just not sure if it's the same method or idea as this is, but either way, I hope everybody is able to utilize theirs or this design, whichever one works best for you. Anyways, the idea I had was to spray alcohol mist onto the masks to lightly dampen them and start the killing of the process of any pathogens on it. Hang them on this tree. If you can see it, the tree. Then the air blows up through the middle of the tree and comes out these little holes drilled in the end caps, and not only would that dry the alcohol back off, but the tree is designed to be rolled into a tanning booth, and the UV rays would effectively kill anything else that's left over on them. I was in talks with a major chain of tanning booths, and I'm not sure where that stands right now. They had their attorneys looking over the idea. I'm not sure if that's going to fly or not. Probably something to do with, ventilation systems on the buildings, and who knows. Whatever lawyers like to look at. I mean, it's responsible for a business owner to look over things anyway, so I'm not faulting him for that. But he tossed some good ideas to me that, how long it would take. In his booths of UVB rays, tanning booths are a narrow band, ultraviolet band, and it takes, according to him, it was 20 minutes within the booth to effectively kill bacteria and viruses at a 6 inches away. So I was kind of designing this thing to fit into there to make sure all the branches of the tree were out within 6 inches of the edge of the tanning booth. And that kind of ended, so I'm not sure where that goes. So anyways, if you have a tanning booth and you want to make one of these, and this one's designed to do 20 masks at a time, you could probably do more, but with my air compressor, I'm kind of limited to how much volume I can push out at a time. It's a decent sized air compressor, and there's bigger ones out there, but I've experimented a little bit with different size. I tried it with a half-inch pipes. I tried running them straight through, and I couldn't get hardly any air coming. I mean, all the air was coming through, but you couldn't feel it. So I put little caps on and drilled 1/8-inch holes into the caps to actually you can feel the air coming through now. So let's see what else. If the tanning booth thing didn't work out, I was planning to, next step was to buy lamps myself and maybe mount them right to the tree. Even 4 6-foot lamps. This is 6 feet tall, so if you had 4 lamps, that would be projecting out plenty of UVs out of that. And maybe put it inside of a mirrored enclosure or some sort of reflection and just double up everything. The one thing I was suggesting or thinking about, actually my son-in-law's idea, was that the air that evacuates out of this enclosure, and probably one of the things the tanning booth place had reservations about was the fact that if there was a COVID-19 becoming airborne because we're blowing it off these masks, say one didn't get misted properly. Oh, by the way, the misting of my alcohol idea, the other company that's doing it is, I guess, using hydrogen peroxide, which I'm not sure which would be better, but that seems definitely, that's something that would kill bacteria. Whichever works best, I don't know. I haven't experimented with either one, so I couldn't tell you for sure. Anyways, getting back to the air part, if you had a HEPA filter and a little air evacuation, negative pressure or something like that on your enclosure or within the building structure you were doing this with, that might be a good thing to just ensure that nothing escapes and does any more harm while you're trying to do good for the public. What else? Yeah, well, if you want a tanning booth and you want to play with it, I was thinking you could possibly turn this into a horizontal and work it with a tanning bed as well. When I was transporting it to another place, I was looking at the ways to do it, so I screwed a couple of boards to a pallet, and it slides right in the back of my pickup truck, and I bungeed it down, and it actually transports on its side pretty good. So there's no reason to think you couldn't turn this into a lay down style dryer tree or of sorts, or whatever you want to call it, and do the same thing in a lay down tanning bed. The bulbs, I guess UVB, I did a little research for that. UVB narrowband and broadband. Narrowband is what's, I think, used commonly in tanning salons, tanning beds, and whatnot. And broadband is an older version. Hospitals, by the way, use UVB narrowband initially for treating eczema and certain skin conditions and sterilization practices. They're starting to use that more in hospitals now since the COVID-19 outbreak. And there's if there's a really bad case of eczema, they'll use the stronger broadband UVB ray, which you can use it for a shorter time span. So I'm thinking and there's actually a UVC as well, which I'm not really sure why. I don't know enough about it, but the places I was researching it they seemed to think it wasn't unsafe, but they also in the same breath said that if you expose your skin and eyes to it, it could leave a burning sensation in your eyes like a welder's burn, or your skin would be red. So it's almost like staring at the sun, I guess. You know, UVC, I suppose, is like regular sunlight, maybe artificial version of it. But in any case, the UVC was the most effective at killing bacteria and viruses. That the research I did there was a UVC bulb would kill all bacteria and viruses within 6 inches, if you put it within 6 inches of it, within 5 seconds. So that's pretty quick. I'm just not sure how safe it is to play around with that stuff. So if you were to do that, you know, make sure you take precautions and do a little more research, and you know, you might have to put it inside an enclosure so that nobody can see the bulbs, or you know, wear safety glasses or something, whatever, some sort of a shaded glasses, so that if it does see you or you see it, that it won't harm you. Whatever, do your own research. I'm not saying one way to do it or not, but that's something to look into, I think, if you dare to go outside of the UVB zone. So anyways, yeah, let me give you some closer pictures and of what we've got here, and then